What's up, fellow lords of gaming, and welcome back to the channel. So I want to jump into Marvel Rivals today and give you guys a little Hero 101. I want to just do a series for you guys to focus on like how to play the characters inside Marvel Rivals. Now mostly I play strategists and Vanguard, so take everything else that I say with DPS characters at a bit of a as me just playing those characters and understanding the combo systems inside of here. I notice a lot of players will play characters and they just don't seem like they're really playing the rotation. So I thought, you know what, let me put it inside a video and see if it sticks for you guys. So we're going to start off with Adam Warlock because we're just going in alphabetical order and the list that the heroes are represented. Adam Warlock is a bit of an interesting character. I've always had this like for Adam Warlock because I've really loved the cosmic of the Marvel comics universe. And he has always been like a pivot point inside of the Marvel universe in terms of the Infinity Gauntlets. It was always funny to me when we got the MCU and we had Thanos coming that we never quite got Thanos and Adam Warlock on screen together. If you had to look at the history of Thanos, Adam Warlock would be quintessential to Thanos as Thanos is quintessential to Adam Warlock. No two characters in my book basically go together like oil and water, along with maybe Drax, the Destroyer. But we do get Adam Warlock in the MCU inside of the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, for which we do have a costume. Now, Will Poulter did a good job playing the character, but I think a lot of Adam Warlock fans probably weren't really necessarily feeling the way that he was introduced inside the MCU. Leave that to James Gunn, and we'll develop problems with what we think is coming for the James Gunn-led DC universe. But nevertheless, we'll give it its chance, right? So anyways, Adam Warlock has a bit of an interesting history. He's basically a genetic human. And then he basically goes from his genetic human status to being with the High Evolutionary and Collector to then basically becoming a part of the Defenders or Guardians of the Galaxy, or, the protectors of the universe in that regard. Basically, he's always linked to the Soul Gem and always linked somehow to Thanos and the Infinity series. Matter of fact, the majority of the history that you find with Adam Warlock is somehow in some way tied to that. Now, Adam Warlock also has a very other nice personality that I like. I call it nice because it's kind of funny, but we call him the Magus. So it's like the alter ego of Adam Warlock. And that is a pretty cool character in and of itself. And there's a whole lot of history there. Now, I'm going to tell you guys right now, if you are a fan of Adam Warlock, and I'm probably going to plug this a few times, not for no reason that I'm not getting paid promotion or anything like that for it, but go and check out marvel.com. They have the Marvel Unlimited comic book subscription that you can basically read all backstories and backlog. Really, really good. So I'm going to show you what that looks like inside of here, because I think it's shameless promotion, but I still enjoy comics, and I'm not as big as going to the comic book stores anymore, but this is this. Now, the reason why I show you this is because I do want to take a look at some of the incarnations of Adam Warlock and some of his uniforms that we have yet to see in the game at this point. None of the uniforms, by the way, that are inside of the game for Adam Warlock are from the comics. Essentially, we have here the Cosmic Crusader Adam Warlock and his history, where he starts out, and then somewhat like Vision, he sees Thor with the cape and stuff like that you have, right? This is perhaps the one uniform that I am dying for Adam Warlock to have. Notice he assigns the cane staff, but it's a really cool look. Here you can see a previous uniform from the Infinity Gauntlet series, I think this would be a good addition. Both uniforms would be the good addition for it. We also have the Adam Warlock Magus in that uniform with the white hair and the devilish smile and so forth. Really, really cool. We also have this from Adam Warlock's Golden Age of Comics type uniform inside of there. And you can see here Adam Warlock teamed up with the Guardians of the Galaxy. He's a really cool character. I think there's some pretty cool designs basically for him. Take these power levels that they always list on the Marvel comics with a little bit of a grain of salt, because I don't necessarily find them to be 100% accurate. And for purposes of like the game, when you talk about the way you see Adam Warlock, it's probably better to try to read some of the comics and look at some of his feats of strength and some of his feats of speed in order to basically get a gauge on how they're representing Adam inside of the Marvel Rivals game, the Marvel Rivals universe. So we can see those however here or there. So without further ado, as I said, the blood uniform, to me, the blood soul uniform is perhaps my favorite uniform for Adam Warlock, without a doubt, hands down. I love the mask, and I love the way that the cape kind of innately clings to the rest of his uniform with the grimoire and stuff. I have yet to be a real big fan of his staff. I wish it would just get rid of it, period. But that's it. We did get the recent Will of Galacta chroma for Adam Warlock. So basically, if you want this uniform, go over to Twitch, log in, watch for 4 hours for any of the channels that have drops enabled, and you'll be able to collect an Adam Warlock chroma. And then we have his other chroma uniforms as well. And then, like I said, the Guardians of the Galaxy. So those are those. Now let's talk about Adam Warlock's abilities, because it's important to understand the rotation of how Adam Warlock works. Without understanding that, you kind of end up in a bad place, because you'll see a lot of players not utilizing the character appropriately. So Adam Warlock is a mid to long range character. Essentially, where he thrives is going to be where he can deal burst healing and burst DPS. I would essentially look at Adam in this role inside of Marvel Rivals as sort of the commander of the battlefield. You should put him in position where he could possibly see the entire landscape of the battlefield, make attacks to help out, and also defend any of the healers in the back row as well, because he has significant burst damage and he has significant burst healing. So let's take a look at those. So his first normal attack is Quantum Magic. Quantum Magic, all you need to know is that at about 40 meters inside the game, damage starts to decrease. This is not your primary attack. I'm going to point that out again. Your left click on your keyboard or Quantum Magic is not your primary attack. Your primary attack should be Cosmic Cluster. It's your right mouse attack, or your, I think it's RB on your controllers or whatever. This should be your primary attack. There is no fall off distance for Cosmic Cluster. You will deal the same damage, and it can go a long ways. And if you hit most of those shots body, or even hit some of those headshots, it will deal immense damage. It is burst. So you should be using right click and then following up with the left click, so that way you can actually deal damage and kill enemies. Remember, I said that there's no fall off to this, which means you can be in the back line and shoot at the back line of the enemy and provide support from the back line in a great significant DPS bursting way. This is really good, especially against other DPSs and strategists. If you're running into any of the Vanguard characters and they have significant health pools, that right click to left click is probably not going to help you out so much. Now, Adam Warlock is still a strategist, which means he has healing abilities. His Avatar Lifestream ability is a very useful skill that will heal others and Adam Warlock as well. So essentially, that Avatar Lifestream, the ability to heal that, will bounce off of 2 targets, and then it has a third heal on it, which will heal the least healthy character on the map. Now, here goes something for you to be aware of. If you don't target anyone, right, and you just target off to the right, left, or whatever screen, and there's nobody around, Adam will heal himself, and it will still bounce off those 3 times and heal other people as well. You don't need to be even in range or visible of the character. They could be around a corner or something like that. As long as it has a way to bounce off and then pass to the other character, you're good to go. So in that regard, it's a really good burst heal effect that's inside the game. Now, he has 2 charges of this. They're each on a 6-second cooldown, so you are going to have to manage those very, very well. Unlike a lot of other characters, strategists, he does have that time limit and cooldown on his skill. Second to that is going to be his Soul Bond skill. I see a lot of players misuse Soul Bond or don't use it appropriately at the right time. Soul Bond should be used when you're trying to counter other characters' ultis, because if you get something like, Spider-Man's hacking in the back row and you guys are full of health and you're soul bonded and you cast it, you might survive that entirety of that attack, because the damage is going to be distributed out to everybody else up to 250 damage. Once 250 damage, the soul bond breaks and it's no longer viable. The other places where you should be using this is when you go initial rush, or anytime the group is paired up. That's when you should be using that soul bond. It shouldn't be that you're using soul bond in the back row as your guys are running into the area, because by the time you get there, the soul bond is done. It's gone. That doesn't make sense to do that as you just too far away from a zone or something like that. So you've got to pair soul bond at the right time. Now, Adam Warlock does have a really nice revival skill, and I have seen plenty of people say, well, Rocket Raccoon's revival is better because it puts a spot someplace and then characters can revive and heal there. Guys, that's because you're not using Karmic Revival appropriately. Karmic Revival has a range on it. It's 30 meters of range to the skill. That means, for instance, on this map, I can be around a wall and still basically provide that revival, and that revival lasts for 10 seconds. So if you time this appropriately with, like, let's say you guys are rushing into zone and your whole team is there, you don't know how many people are going to die, Adam Warlock can, you know, basically drop this as a spawn point, and basically, you know, if you guys die within that 10 seconds, it brings everybody back who is dead within that 10 seconds to that spawn point where he is. In that regard, you only get one use out of Rocket Raccoon's ability, to my knowledge. So it's just the one person gets revived and then nobody else gets it. Adam Warlock's is more powerful in that fact that it lasts for 10 seconds, and guess what? You just get your whole team can revive. If you rushed in, you drop the Adam Warlock, you know, his Karmic Revival, the whole team will survive. You do not need to be on top of the event to cast Karmic Revival. It actually makes no sense to do that, because then you're just wasting it, because when you use Karmic Revival, your allies only regenerate with or revive with 100 health. So you need to basically make sure that you're ready to pair this skill up with something like Soul Bond and Avatar Lifestream, so that way you can get those characters back to health really quickly. Adam Warlock himself will revive using Regenerative Cocoon. This is definitely a call out to his comic lore, where you can basically roll around and use Cocoon to basically revive at any point. If you use the team up with Mantis or Star-Lord, then this is perfect. Now here goes the thing that I think a lot of people don't realize. You don't have to use the Cocoon. Sometimes it's not worth it using Cocoon. I have seen plenty of players where they're the last man surviving inside of an area, and then they cocoon before anybody else returns, and you're like, why did you do that? You might as well just cancel it and revive with everybody else, so that way, you know, you don't waste the cocoon, especially at the cooldown for it. The cocoon has, like, I think 120-second cooldown on it, so you don't want to just be wasting cocoon if you don't have to. So just think about it in that way. His other passive ability, like I said, with the team up that he gets with Mantis and Star-Lord, makes it a great pairing for when you do see Adam Warlock on the field. There's a reason why you might want to play these two, especially if you're in need of a strategist and you're in need of a DPS character. There's two of the better strategists in the games in terms of, you know, Mantis. She's definitely a good strategist inside the game if used in the proper hands, and Star-Lord is definitely a great DPS. Giving them that revivability is also pretty good. So just take a look at that, see how you want to play it. You can see here that we probably will be receiving the Infinity Watch uniform, and then you can see Experiment 79 of the Enclave. If you are on Marvel Unlimited, you can go look up these things and basically review them, and basically, you know, see what the comics looks like and see the differences that they're the creative licenses that they've taken with it. So I'm dying to see those different costumes for Adam Warlock. Obviously, Infinity Watch means that we're going to probably get something for him at some point in the future. They're releasing costumes pretty much every other week inside of here, so no bad on that one. So I'm going to take you guys into practice, take a look at the range real quick, so that way you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about by using some of these skills, and that way you get a better understanding of what I mean overall. So practice range is your best friend, so that way you guys can understand if you're worried about, you know, ruining people's gaming experience inside quick play. A lot of people don't realize it's quick play, guys. It's quick play. So you can see back here, I'm standing at this right there. You can see the little range over here. You can see 30, 20, 30, 25, and 20. But if I use the Cosmic Cluster from this range right here, notice that I got all of those hits on target, and I'm able to use a follow-up hit over here, even though it has the drop-off range, and I'm able to basically tag it. Headshots are going to matter even more because you're basically increasing damage, so you can see that. So if I was to be able to get the hit over here, I'm gonna hit that damage, and then I've got the follow-up hit. That's essentially the combo that you want to have. And you'll notice that there's a damage drop off, like I said, at about 40 meters. So if this was 25 right here, 30, and you were to basically say that was right here about 35, and then back here is about 40. So hitting a body shot from this range right there, you'll notice is about 1.5 bars that you've got. If I go within that 40-meter range and I hit it, you notice is about, what is that, almost 4 bars of damage. So understand the fall off in that regard. So that's why I'm saying to you, utilize the cluster first. It'll fire off 5 shots. It's always going to be consistent. And at some ranges against some 250 health characters and above, you know what? You're probably going to do pretty well in just KOing those characters. So just pay attention to that. Next up, to show you guys, I'm going to sit over here and I'm going to get some damage dealt to me so that way you guys can see this. So I'm going to stand right in the way and I'm just going to take the damage. Notice that inside this damage pool right now, I'm going down. I'm going to face over here and I'm going to heal myself. See that? So if I stand over here and I watch these characters, so I'm taking the damage over here, and then I heal myself, notice that it's still triggered off of bouncing to those characters and they get healed as well, like I said to you. So you don't have to be actually targeting the characters so that way you can get those heals. So just stand in range, take some damage. When the characters go, you know, heal yourself, and that's it. Simple as that. Now let's charge up our ultimate over here, and I want you to notice where these characters are. So you saw what the 30-meter range looked like. It's a pretty good distance. So notice the characters are down over here. I'm going to wait for them to get killed again, and so they're almost out of range. So I'm going to hit the Q in this corner, and now as soon as the characters die, notice that they both revive. So I don't need to be on top of the action to cast that. And that helps me out so that way when they do die and they revive, that gives me the ability to kind of hang off to the back here, and then I can just simply wait for him to come. And as they come out of this, I can then say, I'm going to heal that character before they get back into battle with a nice little heal. That's the way you want to play the character. If you're basically sitting in here and you're trying to cast the ultimate charge inside of this area, and then you're going to revive to basically like, hey, come back to life right here. They don't come back with enough health to make it worth it. Like, you're going to kind of screw it up. So make sure that it's Karmic Revival followed by something like Soul Bond, follows up with something like a heal. So that way you can basically keep characters alive. You are a healer. That is your primary objective. Your secondary objective is to do DPS damage. Do support so that way you can basically help out, you know, your tanks and help out your DPSs, but your primary job is to strategize around how to use your heals and set up your team for success by reviving. Too often we're seeing people pick healers or strategists inside the gameplay, and then they're just playing straight up DPS characters, and they're just like ruining the experience, in my opinion, just straight up. I do wish that the kits were a little bit limited in order to change the way that was. But you know, it is what it is, I suppose. Nothing that you can do about it. Now, one of the things that did kind of irk me a little bit about Adam Warlock's kit is that while he's in his cocoon, going to his cocoon form, or he's dying, you do have the ability to actually take flight. Why Adam Warlock doesn't have flight, I don't know, but I guess it was just a choice based on his DPS and how powerful he was. But it's there. So you notice I can fly as I'm doing this, and I can move just about anywhere on the map. And like I said, you have the ability to basically, you know, change that. He doesn't even have a float, which is just weird to me. I just think that he should have a float. Adam Warlock does have the power of flight. So why he doesn't have it, I'm not exactly sure the choice there, but it's one of the design choices I would love that they fix with Adam Warlock, especially because of the fact that we at this moment don't have any strategists that are able to necessarily take flight. He doesn't have the ability to hover, so I would like to see that change maybe, but I doubt that they will. But that's the character kit in a nutshell. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope it gives you a little hindsight, or, you know, insight to how to play the character appropriately, how to use the character with rotations, and the strengths of the character overall. And then, like I said, some of the little backstory and comic lore. Check out Marvel.com and Marvel Unlimited if you want to check out more series of the Infinity Gauntlet series or the Infinity Watch series in order to see more Adam Warlock. Until next time, guys, peace.